Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our YouTube live session. We're so excited to have you, and we're going to cover everything V3 reports today. I know some of you joined yesterday, and thank you for sticking with us through these technical difficulties. It's going to go a bit smoother this time, and welcome to everyone who's new to today's session. We're super excited to have you and for everything that we've got in store. So before we get started, I'm just going to show you the schedule for today's session. So first up, we've got configuring overdue letters with Quentin, then scheduling automated emails with Michael, and then we'll be finishing up with TV for education reports with Quentin. After that, we've got an exciting little update for you and then some Q&A time. So if you've got any questions, just put them in the chat and we'll answer them for you at the end. But before we get started and stuck in with the session, we've got a little competition which we're launching. So I just want to show you the promotional video for that. It's on reports, and we want to see everything that you're going to come up with. The winner will be announced in November and will win an iPad, but I'll just show you the video for more details, and there's some more information in the description box below as well. So we hope that you are really excited for this competition, and we want to see everything that you've got to come up with. So if you've got any questions, just put them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end. First up, we've got Quentin with configuring overdue letters, so we'll just hand over to him in a moment.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Quentin, and today we're going to be going through in this session, how do we configure our overdue letters? Now with Smart Suite version 3, we've got the ability to both email and print the overdue letters. In the example that we're going to be going through today, I'm going to be focusing more on the emailing side. So that's why you can see my emails up here of what the end result of my overdue letter looks like. The ability to create one template and to both print that template and email that template. So when we go through and do that configuration, you'll be able to send something that's going to look like this for your users. So it's going to have all the information on the books that are currently overdue. It'll have any specific body of that email or printout that you would like to put in for that email. And it's also going to go ahead and have your signature or your sign off. Okay, so when they get sent out, that's what the students are going to receive. If it's printed out, that's what's going to be handed over to the parents for them to have a look at as well. So how do we go ahead and configure that? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to go to Smart Suite version 3, and we need to make sure that we're logged in as a library administrator. From there, we can click on the system menu, top left-hand side, affectionately known as the hamburger. we're going to go ahead and click reports and then reports again. So all of our configuration is done through the reports module. Now, when the reports module loads, there's two sections to this screen. There are all the reports that are under the reports created by FSI, and these are where our customer service team members are going through and creating reports daily and adding it to that library. So you can go through each of those different categories under the reports created by FSI section, and you can run those reports whenever you'd like. And then underneath that, we've got the reports created by me. So these are all of the reports that we have either created from scratch or that we have taken from the top area here and made some modifications to. So they're all going to appear here, and we'll have a look at how that works in a moment. So what we've done with version 3 is we've gone ahead and created an overdue letter template. So this is just a nice, simple, easy letter that will get you started with your overdues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it once. So I'm not going to double click. I'm just going to click once. And then I'm going to click duplicate. And this is going to allow me to make further changes to that report. So it's going to open up in the configuration mode for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a name that's nice and simple and clear for me. So overdue email. Okay, I can then go over to my conditions and I can add some conditions. So I can say that I want this to be for everyone except for the staff members, because I'd like them to have a different letter with different bodied information. Okay, if we wanted to put a range, so if we wanted to say that I want to see all the books on this report that are within 0 to 7 days overdue, or I might say I want everything that's overdue. Okay, so that's the configuration, the conditions area. Then I'm going to go ahead over to my template. Now, this is where we can go in and we can make those really finite adjustments to how we want this to be displayed for our users. So you can see here that we've got these square brackets, and then we've got what looks like some tokens with that background. Now, what that's doing is it's pulling that information directly from the database. So where it says site name, it's not going to actually print site name. It's going to insert into your report the name of your school as it appears in the database. We can see here that we've got classification or class grade, and that's going to show the year level that this particular user that has an overdue is registered in our system. If we wanted to make any changes to any of this information, all we need to do is take our mouse and hover over that area that we would like to make some changes to. So in this case, when we hover over it, we've got the settings icon. When we click on that, we get a text editor. So here we can see that we've got the information that's going to be displayed from the database, and that square bracket is going to be the class grade and the homeroom parameters. But I don't want it to be titled classification and homeroom. I'd like it to be called year level and roll call. Okay, so I just go ahead and make those simple adjustments. Down the bottom, we hit save, and that's made those changes to my template. I can do the same thing with this box here. So I'm going to hover, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that settings icon. And I'm going to remove the barcode because I don't want my letter to really have the barcode. And instead of it saying I want it to say regarding, and I'm going to make these all lowercase. Again, I'm going to go ahead and click save. Now I've come down to the body of my email. So I'm going to go ahead and hover over and click on settings again. And this time what I'm going to do is I want it to say dear first name and surname. So I'm going to go and remove that quotation mark there. I'm going to go up to the drop down, and I'm going to select the field from the database that I want to appear in this particular email. So I'm going to select surname. Now I'm going to put my cursor where I want it to appear, and then click the plus symbol. Okay, and that's gone ahead and put dear first name, surname, and I can put that grammar back in. We can make some further modifications to it. We can make things bold if we wanted to. So the below items are currently overdue. Make that bold, and let's go here and change the color of it as well. Okay, and once we've made those changes, we go ahead and click Save. Now, if we want to see what this is actually going to look like with some actual live data, down the bottom in the toolbar, we're going to go ahead and click Save so that those changes are saved to the database. And then we're going to click Preview. Now, this is going to grab some real data from the database, and it's going to display it for us in that pop-up preview area. So if we're happy with that, we can then just go ahead and print that off or email that to our users. And Michael's going to go through with us in a moment how we go ahead and do that. Okay, if we do want to make some changes, close down that pop-up, come back to the system and make the changes as required. Now, just bear in mind, this little outline that appears around the template editor is the size of an A4 piece of paper or an email. So if you are trying to place information outside of that border, it's actually going to be cut off when the recipient receives that email or that letter from you. So especially when it comes to the data that is being displayed about the books that are overdue, okay, if we're finding that our titles are being scrunched up a little bit and we wanted to make that field a little bit larger, we can do so by coming over to that table. And then we've got this little icon underneath the field that we want to modify. So in this case, I've got title. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag that over. As you see me doing that though, you can see that my cost field is now going outside of that border, which means that when I save it and preview what's going on, it's actually going to cut that off. So we do need to make sure that if we are wanting to make one field larger, we need to sacrifice the width on other fields in order to make that field larger. So if I go ahead and do that and click Save and then preview it again, I can see how that information is going to appear on the report for me. Okay, so nice and simple. Once we have gone ahead and made those changes by hovering over and clicking Settings, when I now go back to my library, my report library, under the Reports Created by Me section, I can go to Overdues, and there's my overdue email template. So when I double click to open that up now, that's going to go straight to all the settings that I've configured and the information that I've configured in my templates. Okay, if we wanted to go and make some further modifications to it, once the report loads, and I've probably loaded a report that's got a bit of data in it. Okay, so once that loads there, I can then go down to the configure button, go back over to my template and make those further adjustments. Okay, so that's how easy it is to create templates using the new Smart Suite version 3 system. Thank you very much. Handing back to you, Sophie.
Thanks, Quentin, so much for that great session. Coming up next, we've got Michael with scheduling automated emails, and we'll be handing over to him in just a moment.
Talk about how to schedule overdue report and how easy it's going to be able to make sure that any report, absolutely any report, can be scheduled to be sent on a periodic basis based on your timing. It's really, really easy. And for the purpose of the exercise, I'm going to be using emails. that you just looked at with Quentin. So to be able to do anything with scheduling, you need to go into your menu, you need to come down to reports and then reports. Okay, and when the report comes up, let's go and have a look at overdues as an example. So I can click on overdues and I'll choose overdues by classification. And when I choose overdues by classification, if I open that up, I can say, let's have a look at my year sevens. And then I'll go generate. So that will give me an idea what the report's going to look like. And if you say, can I send this year seven report to my year seven teachers by email? Straight answer is yes. And no matter what report you are looking at, if you've got an email on the bottom, if you click email, you can schedule it. And the way it works is when it comes up, you need to put in the email address of the teacher you are scheduling it for, okay? And then you choose the date that you want it to start. So I'm going to start on the 29th, so Monday. And on Monday at 7 o'clock in the morning, weekly, that's going to go out and I can put my subject and I can go, Jack, who's the year seven teacher, please check this for me. Okay, so you can go around here and fix up your spelling. You can fix all of that. And then you just go schedule. Now, when Jack gets it, it'll be an email that it's come from do not reply. But if you want him to reply to you, you can put in your email address there and then go schedule. So from now on, that report is going to be scheduled for Jack. If you want to test it and see what it's going to like, you might click on the send now and walk over to Jack and have a chat to him. But that's how you would schedule this particular report. If you want to do another report for your year eights, what you'll need to do is you will need to go to the reports module, okay? And I'm using the overdues as an example again, overdues by classification. And I've got to say, duplicate this report. Now you can notice we've got no overdues here. I'll come down to the letters in a minute, but we're just using overdue reports. So I'll go, I want to duplicate the overdue by classification and overdues by classification. And in here, I'll go year seven, okay? And when you go year seven, I'll just go save it. Now let's go back into the homeroom report here, okay? So when I go to the reports here, there's my overdues. And now I've got overdues by classification year seven. Now I can open this report, okay? And I can choose my year sevens. And then I can go generate and I can email that, okay? Now, if I wanted an overdue report for year eights and year nines and year tens, just as you would your overdue letters, you must make sure that you go home, okay? And on the reports menu, so when you look at overdues, you got one for year sevens and you've created a schedule for that. So what you need to do is you need to go overdues, okay, overdues by classification, duplicate that and call that overdues. So we go overdues by classification year 8 and you'll go save. Okay, now let's go back into the home menu for the reports. When I go to overdues, I've created the schedule for 7. I now have to create a schedule for 8. And then I'll copy the previous overdues and I'll make overdue for year 9 and year 10 and year 11 and year 12. So you need to have, if you're doing a schedule, you need to have them represented here, overdues by year 7s, year 8s. And exactly the same will apply to a letter. So if I wanted to do schedule and overdue letters, I would need to come here and go overdue letters and I'll go duplicate the overdue letter and that'll be letter 1. Letter 1, okay? And you might say letter 1, 30 days. So at least you know what it's about. You don't want to just say letter 1 because then you have to open the letter to find out Is it a 30-day letter? Is it a 60-day letter? So you go into that, you'll save it, okay? And then you'll go into the template like Quentin showed you, and you'll set it up if that's all correct, okay? And so when you then want to run that as a schedule, you'll need to go to overdues, and there's your overdue letters. Okay, you'll click that and you'll say open, and then you say that is for my year sevens, and you'll say it's 30 days or 60 days before or 90 days before or whatever. You'll need to save all that information. Then you'll need to click on the email. You only get to the schedule from the email button, and then you'll put your schedule in when you want it to start and the frequency. You might say, no, this is a 120-day letter. So if it was a 120-day letter in the parameters, you might say, I want to send this monthly. Okay, but if it's a 30-day letter or 60-day letter or fortnightly letter, you might say, I want to send it weekly or fortnightly. So that's how you would schedule your letters. And then when you click on the schedule, that schedule's stuck. Remember, you need to put in the email address if you're sending it to a particular person as a report. However, an email will go automatically to the email of the patron, so you do not need to put anything in there. But if you want to put a specified to, if you want to put a reply to, because it'll always go to no reply, you can put your email address in there. The danger of doing that is if you're sending overdue letters to 500 students or their parents, you're giving them the opportunity to absolutely flood your inbox with your email address. So you're better off to leave it blank, and then the letter will come from no reply. So that's how easy it is. And so I've shown you how to schedule a report, and any report using the email function. And of course, you use the same function if you're going to do overdues. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present scheduling of reports from Smart Suite Reports.
Thanks, Michael, so much for that great segment. Up next, we've got Quentin with TV for Education reports, and we'll hand over to him in just a moment.
Thanks again, Sophie. Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you've really got a lot out of the first two sessions this morning and setting up those overdues. We have been, or I personally have been, assisting customers on our customer service desk with questions on how we set up and how we run off overdues. And we're fairly shocked that a lot of schools are still manually doing that process. So I'm hoping that everyone today will be able to get excited about that promotion, the giveaway for the iPad, and go ahead and use the skills that you've learned today to set up your overdue letters and schedule those. So that's one less task that you have to worry about every week or month with resourcing your library. So the session that we're going to go through now is TV for Education reports. So if you don't know about TV for Education, it's a really, really powerful resource that is bundled in with Smart Suite. It's a value add that you can grab as part of the subscription with Smart Suite Library, and it gives you access to over 160,000 video titles that we are preparing and curating for teachers to use in the classrooms across Australia. So if you would like some more information about that, please definitely reach out to our customer service team and they can redirect you to the appropriate personnel. But with TV for Education and Smart Suite, you've got the ability to actually drill down and have a look at what's going on with your TV for Education data. Excuse me, whilst we just deal with a chopper going overhead at the moment. But what can we do with the TV for Education data? So there are 3 different categories that we deal with TV for Education reports. That is, who's logging in, what classification are they, how long are they staying logged in for, everything to do with logins. We then have watchers. So we have what videos are being watched, who are watching, or what classification are watching different kinds of videos, different subjects, what's their really core focus, and we've got some analytics that we can run behind that. And then we've got a really important report for administrators, which is what content is being added to our school library to boost up the amount of resources that we have available to our students and teachers at the school. So where do we go to access all of these reports? So the first thing is we need to jump on and we need to log in. So we've already had a look at today, going to the hamburger or the system menu, going to reports, and then going to the different categories. So we've got the FSI reports, and then we've got the reports created by me. So I'm going to jump over here quickly and just show you. So we're back now in the reports. Okay, and under the reports created by FSI, we have some usage reports. Now, in here, we have a number of usage reports that are really predominantly designed for the TV for Education user. We do also have some other usage reports that are available on borrowing statistics, but we'll cover that on a different session. So the first one we're going to have a look at is what are the top 10 highest watched programs within my school area. So if I go ahead and I click on that, the system's going to launch this report and it's going to have a look at, if I generate that, what's been going on, and it's going to show me, okay, out of all of the videos that are in my collection and out of all the videos that have been watched, which are the top 10 programs that have been watched the most. And we can see that represented, first of all, in a pie chart, and we can see their percentage and information underneath. And we've also got the raw data that's showing us Dr. Seuss is the most with 322 hits. Okay, so if we compare that here, we can see that 322 accounts for almost 15% of the watches that are occurring in our library. Okay, if we just have a glance at this and we're pulling down some analytics on it, we can then go, okay, I can see that the top 50% of the videos here, they have a subject of fiction. So let's go and have a look at what the watch statistics are like on all the programs in our library that have a subject of fiction. So if I use this exact same report, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the top here, and I'm going to change the conditions of it. So I'm going to go here and select subject equals fiction. But what I'm going to tell the system is, okay, I no longer want to see the global stream rates. I just want to see the top 10 watch programs that have a subject of fiction. So if I go ahead and regenerate that, it's now showing me a breakdown. Now, again, I might have 132 videos from TV for Education that have that subject of fiction. But this report is only showing me the top 10 watched from my fiction collection. And from here, we can now see that Perks of Being a Wallflower is going to be the top when we strip down and have a look at that fiction subject area. Okay, and that makes up almost 50% of all the programs that have that topic. So if we're dealing with a particular scenario where we've got a volcanoes topic that's going out for year 12s, and we want to see, okay, are they actually using the correct videos? We can come into this usage report and go, I want to see all the videos that have a subject of volcanoes. And if they're watching a David Attenborough video that is 10 years old, and that's the most watched program, and there's a newer program that Discovery Education has published that's available through TV for Education, we can then grab that link to that video, share it to all the teachers and say, hey, I know you're watching the David Attenborough video. It's really good, but I think that your students are going to benefit from this video a little bit more. So drilling down those analytics, you can then decide, okay, what needs to be published to the rest of my community to make sure that they're using the correct resources. So when you're running these reports, don't be afraid to go in and add additional information. If we want to do multiple criteria, multiple conditions, we can go and put in the first line here. So subject equals fiction. Right-hand side, we've got a plus symbol. That will allow us to add additional criteria. So we can say, I want to see all the resources or all the videos that have a subject that equals fiction, or subjects that equal fiction authorship. Okay, and we could run that report and see what information comes out. So Smart Reports is really flexible with the way that it allows you to customize on the fly the data that you're going to see out of it. Okay, so that's the first kind of report that we've got available for you. I'm going to go back to my report home here and go back to my usage. Like I mentioned before, we've got those login statistics. So they're really good just to have a look at who's logging in. It also will give you a little bit of an idea of what days people are logging in. So that information is going to be important for you so that you can have a look at, okay, most of my students are logging in on a Thursday and Friday. Now, is that because they've got a lot of spares on a Thursday and Friday and they're just kind of watching stuff on TV for Education instead of using it for educational purposes? And if that is the case, how can I go about encouraging them with different methods like QR codes and external links to access the videos on different days? So the login statistics are going to be really important for you. But you've also got this stream statistics here. So the stream statistics are going to give you a little bit more finite data on what programs are being watched and when they are being watched by individual users. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change my criteria just to slim it down a little bit. And I'm going to say, I want to see everything that is streamed in 2020. So 1st of the 1st, 2020. Okay, and I can see here that I've got a whole bunch of data that's showing me this particular program, Australia's Ocean Odyssey, was streamed on the 12th of June 2020 by this particular user here. Now, this is just one of our generic users in the database, but traditionally it'll say Quentin Fernandez from this year level, year 12, whatever it is, and homeroom 8A. Okay, and again, we can go through and we can add additional criteria in. So I can say, if I'm seeing a lot of teachers' data in this report, and I'm wanting to just remove them so that I can see what the students are actually watching, I can go in and add another criteria where I don't want it to actually look at a particular field. I want it to not include that field in this particular report. So I'm going to say, I want to see everything that's streamed in the database after the 1st of January 2020 and where the year level does not equal staff, and regenerate that. Okay, and this is going to show me a report for basically all the students and what they're watching and when they're watching it. Okay, so again, we can then go through and have a look at what's going on in the system. What are the top watch programs? You know, why is this particular user watching The Spy Who Dumped Me? If we have a look at that user and then we trace it back and go, oh, that was during one of their spares, maybe we can then go in and have a chat to them and say, look, when you come into the library for that spare, you should be using it for study. Don't use it to watch movies on TV for education. Okay, so it's going to give you that ability to analyze what's actually going on with that data. Okay, so jump in and have a look at those usage reports. As I said, you've got the ability to drill down and look at different criteria and what's going on as far as who's logging in, when they're logging in, what content they're watching, and when they're watching it. Now, the last report that I'm going to show you is a report that's really been designed for library administrators to just keep tabs on what's happening with the TV for Education videos being added by teachers into the school's collection. Now, this isn't found under the reports. It's found by clicking on that hamburger system menu, going to reports, and then TV for Education Management Report. Now, what this report shows you is not what's being streamed and when it's being streamed. It's actually showing you what's being catalogued from the TV for Education library into your school's library. Now, it's also going to show you the information of each of those individual records at that point in time. Now, that's important to know, and I'll show you once this report loads here. Okay, now that's important to know because when we're looking at this information here, we can see that this particular video is Australia's Ocean Odyssey. We can see that it's come in with a classification of PG, and we can see that currently in the database, it has a security of Year 9. Okay, so if we were to go and change that right now, and let's say that we were going to up the security to Year 10, because our school, we don't want students from Year 9 watching PG content. And when I make that save, that's instantly reflected on that report. So if I just refresh that, the data will change against that title. And that just gives me a little bit of peace of mind that the information that I'm looking at on that report is showing me exactly what is happening on my data at that point in time. So as I'm scrolling through, if I'm seeing a lot of M-rated content that has a security of Year 10, or if I'm seeing maybe G content that has a security of teacher only, and I want to reduce that, I've got the ability to click on that pencil and make those changes right then and there. So it's a really important report that administrators should be jumping onto and checking periodically. It's ordered by the most recently catalogued resources at the top, which means that whenever you go in, the top resources should be the ones that you haven't dealt with before in the past. Okay, so it's just going to keep adding those in for you. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. That was your TV for Education usage reports. If you do have any other questions on it, please make sure that you either post them over to the YouTube chat channel. We'll try and get those to those today, or open up a mailbox ticket and our customer service team members can help you out. Thanks, Soph. Back to you.
Thanks for the session, Quentin. That was great. Just before we go into question time, there's still time to put in questions if you've got any. But next up, Quentin has a little update on V3 that he would like to show you. So I'll just pass over back to Quentin for a moment.
A little bit sick of me by the end of the session today, but I'm hoping that I'm pushing out a lot of really useful content for everyone to use along with Michael today. So this week we've done a really exciting release for SmartSuite version 3, and that's going to be found again by accessing your system menu and scrolling down until you see the support option. So a lot of you have been communicating with us through the mailbox, and that's great to submit those support tickets into our customer service team members. We're always going to be there to help you out. But what we've done is we've provided you with some additional resources that you can gain access to prior to getting in touch with one of our customer service team members. So the first thing you'll see under that menu is the contact support. So that's going to basically take you over to your mailbox so you can submit those additional tickets to us. The next option there is our search for help. So we have been working behind the scenes to build up the library of help articles and videos to really help you guys out. We've broken it down into the different product lines. So if you're a SmartSuite library user and you've got some questions on how do I catalog or how do I stock take, go ahead and jump over to there and you'll be able to go through all the different help that we have available. So you can see under cataloging, these are the first couple of help articles that are available, but you do also have 45 other articles that you can have a look at under that category. Once you find an article that looks like it may be what you're after, just go ahead and click on it, and that's going to launch that particular article, so you can go through and resolve your inquiry with us. Okay, so you've got access to the help. You've now got a direct link to our YouTube channel. So if you go ahead and click on training videos, that's going to take you directly over to our YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe, because whenever we do events like this, whenever we post new videos, you'll get live notifications. But if you ever have some time up your sleeve and you're wanting to upskill a little bit more in the products, Smart Suite Library and TV for Education, jump over to the training videos and have a look and see what you may not already know about. One exciting project that we've launched, or Sophie and her team have launched, is the new FSI user community. So if you are a Facebook user, definitely jump onto the system and click FSI user community. That's going to take you over to the Facebook group where all of our administrators across all of the product lines are jumping on and starting to create discussions and feed information to each other on the Smart Suite Library and TV for Education systems. We are going to be promoting a number of different events and promotions and discussions through the FSI user community group. So if you haven't already done so, make sure that you jump on, follow us on that group, and connect with other FSI users from not only just in Australia, but also overseas, and how they're running their libraries. Okay, the last option that we've got there is our quick start guide. So this is especially useful for those new users that have come on board with us. This is a PDF printout. I think it's about a 60-page document that is a really nice, easy introduction into how do I administer TV for Education and Smart Suite Library. So it covers everything from cataloging all the way down to setting up our security and our loan limits. So everything that we would expect a new user on the system to perform within the first 6 months of using the product. Okay, they're all really easy steps to follow. So adding a new copy, there's 4 steps. And for things like circulation, where we wanted to provide you with a little bit more information, especially if you wanted to print these out for your teachers, there's also videos that go along with it. And those videos are only 45 seconds long. So all of that information is now accessible through that support option in your system menu. Thanks, Soph. Did you want to take that one, Michael?
No, you can. You can.
Okay, so thank you very much for that question, Sue. It is definitely possible to schedule that information to come out to you. So all we need to do is we need to configure that report to have the information in it that you would like to receive. So with the TV for Education Management report that we have over here. Okay, let me just bring it up quickly. to load. Let's say that we've got too many fields in it. We don't really want to see when the email comes to us what the security is or what the rating is. We just want to see that something has been added to the collection. And then I want to be able to go back into the system and check it out for myself and deal with it there. I don't want to see too much information. So once we've gone ahead and configured the data to appear, then what I need to do is just like what Michael was showing us with the overdue messages. Okay, and I'm going to cheat a little bit by just going through the overdue report instead of the statistics report. Down the bottom, there's going to appear that email button. So we just need to go through and follow that exact same process and set up that schedule. Now, what we will do, instead of it going to the mail to group, what we're going to do is we're going to specify that to go to our emails. And we might say that we want it to go to the library at school account. Okay, so that's our generic account. When that comes through, we want that to go out daily. Okay, and if there's anything new that's in that report, we want to get a list of all those items that are new and receive those in our inbox. Or if we really wanted to be on top of things, we could schedule those to happen every hour. So in the last hour, I want to see what is new for today. Okay, so it's all a matter of making sure that, number one, our conditions are correct. Okay, and that will be, if I just go ahead and say that I want to see everything that's been created 0 days before today. Okay, that's going to be really important if we're doing a daily report because we don't want to see all the other content. Okay, making sure that our conditions is right. That's number one. Number two, making sure that our template has been set up. Okay, obviously, we're not going to have all of the information that we have in an overdue report. So I'll just remove those quickly. Okay, and all we would see would be something like this, where we're just seeing the raw data. Okay, so that'll be the second step. And then that third step is just making sure that your schedule is set up correctly. Okay, making sure that it's going to you daily and that the specified email is populated when not using the mail to group. Thanks, Sophie.
Thanks so much, Quentin. So just to repeat, that was Sue's question on the automated emails, will it be possible to schedule what's new in resources and TV for education programs to teachers? Thanks for that great question, Sue. So that concludes our V3 Reports live session. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll have some more sessions like this coming up very soon, so we hope to see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us.